Today, I'm going to share with you 5 powerful secrets in body language that very few people know. If you apply them, you'll notice how people's perception of you will completely change. Because look, my friend, most people think that respect comes from words or from trying to please other people. But the truth is completely different, my friend. Because real respect is determined from the very first moment, even before you say a single word. Because people judge you by the way you stand, your movements, your gaze, and even the smallest details of your body language. So if you're someone who doesn't know how to control this language, you'll be ignored, even if you're the smartest person in the room. But if you know the right secrets and how to apply them, you'll command respect from anyone without even asking for it. First secret, show your hands smartly. If you meet someone for the first time and they don't see your hands, your subconscious mind will start to warn you. You might feel that they're nervous, that this person isn't confident, or even worse, that they have something to hide. And this isn't just my opinion, it's a basic human instinct. Because for thousands of years, humans have watched the hands of the person in front of them to know if they were a threat or not. In martial arts, for example, a fighter watches his opponent's hands. In wars, it's the same thing, because the danger doesn't come from the person themselves, but often from their hands. So if their hands are clearly visible, it means they have no bad intentions. And if they're hidden, the brain immediately sends a signal that something is wrong or not normal. So what happens, my friend, is that average guys walk into a meeting room or sit in a job interview and put their hands in their pockets or clasp them under the table without knowing that with this simple move, they're giving an impression of insecurity and a weak personality, or even worse, they're making the person in front of them nervous. But only 1% of men, my friend, know this secret. If you keep your hands visible and comfortably open, you'll create an impression of power and confidence before you even say a word, and you'll be more comfortable in the eyes of the person in front of you. But there's a difference between showing your hands with confidence and just moving them randomly or exaggerating your gestures. Because too much movement gives an impression of nervousness, and being too still gives an impression of apathy. So the secret here is balance, my friend. When you talk, stay calm. Let your hands rest in a visible place. And when you need to emphasize a point, use gestures and move them logically and slowly. And as a result of this, people will respect you more. They'll feel your presence, and they'll trust your words even without a clear reason. They'll simply say, I felt comfortable with this person. And that's because you're communicating with them on a deeper level than words. On an instinctive level they understand without even being aware of it. And yes, hands are a very important part of the body. But there's one thing you do that will literally crush your charisma, and that is the turn. Imagine someone calls your name. How do you turn to them? If you're like 99% of men, you'll probably turn your head quickly, maybe even raise your eyebrows and say, yes? As if you're desperate to respond, as if you're afraid of missing out on something, or even worse, as if you need the approval of the person in front of you. But the 1% of men know that even the way you respond to people's calls can determine your status in their eyes. Because look, my friend, when you turn quickly without thinking, you're sending an indirect message that you're needy or even eager, and that the person who called you has authority over you. Whereas if you took a second or two and turned slowly and steadily, gradually raising your gaze to the person speaking to you, you'll appear as a person of value who takes his time with his movements and isn't ready to give his attention to just anyone easily. The key here, my friend, is to control your reaction itself. It doesn't mean you ignore people or intentionally be slow in an exaggerated way, but the secret is that when someone calls you, you take a small moment, move calmly, and turn as if you're the one deciding when to give your attention. Not like someone waiting for a signal to move. Because look, my friend, a dog, for example, when you call it, it will immediately turn to you. So this behavior can really ruin your presence. But if you do as I told you, they will notice your calmness. They will feel that your attention is valuable. And before you know it, they'll start treating you with more respect. But for sure, you don't want to appear weak, right? So stick with me for the next secret, which is controlling the width of your shoulders. Because look, my friend, hunched or closed off shoulders aren't just a posture problem. They are literally a subconscious message you're sending to people that you're weak, hesitant, or even someone who doesn't deserve attention. Because a lot of men really walk with their shoulders hunched forward without noticing, as if they're trying to make themselves smaller or avoid drawing attention. But the 1% of men know that the way you hold your shoulders alone can make you command respect from the first moment. So when you're sitting or standing, the secret is to find a balance between relaxation and stability. Don't force yourself and try to puff out your chest in an artificial way, because it will be obvious that you're faking it or even a bit nervous. What you should do is keep your shoulders relaxed but open at the same time, as if you're taking up your space without any effort. Because a simple move like pulling your shoulders back a bit and raising your head to a medium level makes your body send signals to people that you're a person with physical strength and self-confidence, and you don't need to prove yourself with words. Because as soon as you adopt this posture, you'll notice how people start to treat you with more respect without you even saying a word. And as an extra tip, if your back is hunched, do push-up or plank exercises, and that will solve the problem for you. But since you've made it this far, you're definitely interested in knowing how to respond to people. So I'll give you the next secret, which is the timing of your reaction. Look, my friend, most people react immediately to any word said to them, whether it's a criticism, a joke, or even a compliment, simply because they're used to reacting without thinking, as if they need to prove themselves or win people's approval. But to tell you the truth, the person everyone respects is the one whose feelings you can't easily read, the one who has complete control over his reactions. So when someone says something to you, don't rush to respond. Instead of reacting impulsively, take a breath, allow for a brief moment of silence before you answer. Because that moment alone is enough to make the person in front of you rethink their words. Because suddenly, they feel you're not an ordinary person. They'll know you're smarter to answer without thinking. So the cool thing is, when you do this, people will start to deal with you more cautiously, whether with jokes or compliments. Or even if someone tries to provoke you, just by not giving them an immediate reaction, you make them feel that they've lost control of the situation. And here you become the one with the power, because you not only controlled yourself, but you also made the other person feel like they're the one who needs to prove themselves to you. This method not only increases people's respect for you, but it also gives you a presence and an aura that's only found in people who truly have inner strength. But stay with me so I can tell you why the way you walk will make a difference you never expected before. So we'll move on to the final secret, which is walking without hesitation. Look, my friend, the way you walk reveals more about your personality than you can imagine. A person who hesitates before moving or suddenly changes direction sends an indirect message that they're not self-confident, as if they're waiting for someone to lead them. This type of person, even if they're smart or strong, people don't see them as a leader, because simply put, they appear to lack self-control to begin with. So the secret is to walk with confidence and stability, with your body somewhat firm, as if you know exactly where you're going, and even if you don't actually have a specific destination. Even if you are just walking around a room because you're thinking, walk as if you have a destination. When you move, don't stop suddenly unless there's a clear reason. And when you enter a place, don't hesitate or think, what will people think of me for coming in late, for example. Enter immediately, as if there's the ones who should be nervous about your entrance, not the other way around. Other than that, don't change your direction suddenly as if you're lost. Even if you are actually lost, stop calmly, scan the area with your eyes, and then continue on your way. Simply put, make your steps deliberate, balanced, and don't be afraid to take the space you need when you walk. But most importantly, don't walk too fast as if you're in a hurry for something, nor too slowly as if you're hesitant. Have a steady rhythm with a straight back and your gaze forward. Because when people see a person walking this way, they feel that this is a person with a purpose and someone in control of their life. So, just like that, without him even speaking, they instinctively respect him because he gives off the energy of someone who knows his worth, and people are naturally attracted to this type of person. So look, my friend, the secrets we've talked about aren't just details, they are fundamental rules if you want to be a person who is respected without asking for respect. And if you're one of those people who want to take control of their lives, assert their presence, and be people who are taken seriously, then I will help you with that. My role is to guide you, to give you the keys that only a very few people know. Because the difference between an ordinary man and a man who commands respect is knowledge and experience. And that knowledge, I will leave it in your hands. I am Kasim. And if you'd like to know what is the one thing you can do that will make people respect you, watch this.